Tell us, how did your journey begin with swimming?
So very funny story because I come from a Gujarati family and no one from my family decided that I'll become an athlete or I'll take up sports professionally while growing up. But as a kid, my appetite was very poor, and I was a lanky little girl who wouldn't eat properly. So in 2007, my mom just thought that if she plays in water for some time, she'll come out and at least eat properly, if she gets tired in the water swimming a little. So that's how she put me in a summer batch in this club that was close to my house. So that's what I learned, and then slowly, like after I was put in an advanced batch. The coaches thought that I'm swimming well, so a lot of people came and told me that maybe take professional classes and see how far you can go. And I enjoyed, and mom's problem of not eating properly was also solved. So I think yeah, it worked both in our favors, and that's how I started swimming. In 2010, I moved to Gujarat Vidyapit, where that was the only place in Ahmedabad was taking coaching classes for swimming. So I started training over there competitively.
So what age was it when you started?
I was 10 when I started my competitive training. So it's been 12 years now.
And who was your first coach?
Kamlesh Nanavati.
Okay. And
Yeah.
you are still in touch with him, or you're training with someone else now?
Yeah, I did change my base. Now I train in Bangalore under Nihar Amin. But I'm still very much close to Kamlesh sir, and I still respect him a lot and always will, because he was my first coach. And that's how I started as a swimmer. So I'll always have immense respect for him. But yeah, I'm training in Bangalore for the last 1.5 years with Nihar sir.
Yeah. Mana, and a lot of people are curious, what is your height?
Oh, is it? I'm I'm close to 5'7.5", yeah. Like
Okay.
not 5'8", but like 5'7.5", yeah.
Yeah. And you also went to Tokyo Olympics. You represented India. I mean, that was quite an achievement, and a lot of we all were proud of you. So take us through that experience. What all things you remember, the interaction?
Olympics is a lifelong dream of any athlete, any competitive athlete. So it was mine, and finally I got a chance to represent my country at the Olympics last year in Tokyo. And I think it was an amazing experience to be to be a part of all the world class athletes, and everyone from around the world comes together to live in that village for like 2 weeks, for close to 2 weeks, and competing against them. It's a different vibe altogether. There's so much of energy, there is so much of positivity around you. So I was just soaking myself, I was just basking in that the vibe with everyone. Like obviously, when it comes to the Indian contingent, I made friends with PV Sindhu. She's such a sweet girl, so down to earth and very helpful. I made friends with Sharat Bhaiya. Like it's amazing to see at such an age he's still competing and bringing glory to the nation. I mean, it's incredible. So I got to interact with some of the famous Indian athletes. Also, I was lucky enough to see Djokovic in the village. Like I got a picture with him. Like to see someone, I mean, I always watch his matches, and to see someone like that standing in front of my eyes was an amazing feeling. Yeah. So I
And
mean, when it comes to the weather, like it was pretty hot in Tokyo. Like I didn't really, Olympics is basically like a celebration. You celebrate being an athlete, you celebrate competing, representing your country. But because of COVID, there were a lot of restrictions. No one was allowed in the country once the Olympics began, and we didn't have any spectators, and the roads kind of looked pretty dead because of COVID and how the situation was. But nonetheless, like going to the Olympics was itself like a lifelong memory
yeah, yeah,
and an
obviously,
experience.
uh,
Yeah.
you have obviously played state level. You have represented your state, but playing at an international level is an altogether different experience. So, what were the key takeaways? What were the things you learned from there?
I think because this was my first I have taken part in a lot of other international events, but the pressure of competing at the Olympics kind of got to me when I was there. Um, like I let the pressure and I let the stress get the better of me on my race day, which definitely affected my performance. I was so anxious, I was so nervous. I kind of I couldn't perform because of that. And I mean, that's no excuse, but that's something that I learned. Like you need to be able to handle that pressure well, like when you're competing at a very high level. It's different when you're competing at state, national, and other few international tournaments. But yeah, I think you need to have a very, very strong mind. You need to go in with a strong mind to be able to cut yourself out from the outside noise, so that you can focus better. So that's something that I learned, to be stable when you're competing at such a big event. So yeah, that's one big learning for me from the Olympics.
Also, take us through all the other achievements and tournaments you have participated in apart from Tokyo Olympics.
I've in 2011 I won my first national medal and I was 11 years old. In
Okay.
2013 I became the fastest and youngest Indian swimmer ever to get the fastest Indian record in 50, 100 and 200 meters backstroke. So that's a big achievement, I believe, and those races are very special to me.
Yeah.
And then I won the best swimmer award in the national category in my age group from 2012 to 2015, and
Okay.
best swimmer women in the women's category, senior category, from 2013 to 2016.
Great. Great.
Yeah, and apart from that, I've raced at big events like the Mare Nostrum, which happens in three locations: Monaco, Barcelona, and Cannes. The what's it called? Set Coli in Rome. I've raced at Asian age groups that keeps happening every 4 years in like depends on any Asian country. So I've represented India at other such events like that.
And which players do you look up to, Mana?
I look up to a lot of, so I love reading, honestly, and I love reading biographies of or like like all these other athletes. So I've read about Andre Agassi, I've read about Rafa. So I look up, I take some things, few things from all these athletes whose books I've read, and I try to like remember that and try to inculcate that in my own life. But I honestly truly follow this guy called David Goggins. He's a
Okay.
retired US Navy SEAL officer, and I think I'll recommend his biography to everyone, like every growing child. It's a good read.
Okay. And a swimmer is supposed to be very fit and athletic. So, what is the fitness regimen which you go through, Mana?
Yes, fitness is very, very important. So apart from my swimming schedule, which is 2 hours, I swim for 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the evening, and I gym for close to 1 hour, 15 minutes, 4 days a week. So
Okay.
apart from that, yeah, we do a lot of weight training, we do a lot of functional training. But apart from that, what keeps an athlete fit is what he eats. You are what you eat, so a diet is very, very important. What goes in your body is basically what you are. So yes, food plays a big, big role in like in terms of your fitness.
We were going to dwell onto that as well. What diet do you follow?
I make sure, so diet also, but like I make sure I get blood tests done every 4 months to see like my iron levels, my B12 levels, vitamin D, hemoglobin, my ferritin. So all these are very important, so I make sure I do that on regular basis. And also like I try to get a balanced diet, like it's different when I'm training and it's different when I'm racing. So it's
Okay.
yeah, when I'm racing, it's more of carb intake. It's like carb loading, lots of pasta, lots of bread. And when I'm training, it's more of protein, to help your muscles recover. So it's try to balance it out a little.
Any particular go-to foods you rely on
Uh,
daily basis?
um, Not as such. Like I don't mind anything that my mom makes me. Like I'm open to eating everything that's healthy, and that helps me swim faster.
Yeah, and Mana, this interview is supposed to be a short one, but I will ask you one more question. One technical advice for young swimmers, young aspiring swimmers.
In terms of swimming, like a technical advice that I'd like to give, especially to Indian swimmers, is because growing up, I think I've not really worked on this, and but I would definitely want the upcoming swimmers to work on these areas. Is I'm sure I'm using a few technical terms, but I'm sure when they see this, they'll understand what I'm talking about. Focus more on aerobic strength. Building aerobic capacity during your off season is very, very important going into your racing season. Like, basically I mean to say is, if you have a good aerobic pace, you won't die in the last 25-15 meters of your race. Like, you'll have that energy to keep going and it won't hurt. So yeah, it's okay to die in practice so you can win the race. That's how it goes.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Uh, and one general advice. I mean, one general advice for young athletes who aim to play for India in Olympics.
For athletes who are really serious, I think one trait that, not even athletes, like anyone, like it's very, very important. Discipline is not only like get up and train every single day. It's basically also to do things when you don't want to do it. Like, you should know the difference of, okay, I have to do this even when I don't want to do it. Like, that's discipline. So I think it's very important to be disciplined in life. Like, sometimes you'll have to do things when you don't feel like, but that's when you actually have to push yourself, get out of the bed and just go go to the, go get some work done. So yeah, that's very important.
And what are your plans for the coming season, or let's say about the future?
As of now, yeah, so I'm pretty much done with all the international racing for this year. I have two more national events. I'm racing next month at the senior championships, and we have national games, and my state is the host this time. So I'm really looking forward to that. And yeah, after that, I'll train to qualify for the Asian Games next year. So that's my major goal for next year. It's good that it got postponed to next year. I mean, it gives me more time to train, so I'm taking it positively.
Great, great. It's good. I mean, it was really great to talk with you, Mana. Thanks for giving your time, and we all are proud of you.
Thank you so much. It was fun chatting with you too.